Greetings, my guildlings. I am back with another new episode in the wonderful world that is geek culture. My name is Cole Spire, and I have with me a very special guest. The one I made mention of before, my good friend, the wayward moogle, Michael. Say hello to all the people listening.
Hey, everybody.
Now, the reason I have Mike here is because I promised you all that I had a games journalist friend that could shed some light on his take of what has been happening over the last 3 months in the world of gamers. Now, for those of you who don't know, there has been a hashtag going on around Tumblr, Twitter, and even Facebook that has been gaining strength, numbers, and momentum. Hashtag GamerGate. The phrase was coined by Adam Baldwin when Internet Aristocrat broke the news on YouTube about what has been dubbed the Zoe Post. How GamerGate has started depends on who you ask. The pro side says that this all started because information came to light that games developer Zoe Quinn was cheating on her boyfriend with a games journalist. The same journalist then gave Miss Quinn positive publicity on her game Depression Quest. It seemed that the positive mentions for Miss Quinn were a direct result of his sexual affair. This started a whole debate about the ethics of games journalism and how this affects what we read. This was then confirmed in the eyes of the pro side when 10 articles came out the same day that stated gamers are dead and also that gamers don't need to be your target audience. Thus, and then started the continuing consumer revolt that has now spanned 3+ months. From the anti-side, it is all about a small handful of middle-aged, white, heterosexual, misogynistic males that want to keep their quote-unquote boys club and keep the status quo of there being no women in the games industry, or games period. If I seem a little biased by that description, I can see why. The pro side seems to have been continuing to try and explain themselves, while the anti-side continues to call gamers a bunch of neck-bearded virgins. There are a ton of other YouTubers out there to get caught up on all of this, so I won't go into too much more detail. If you want to hear about it or learn anything more about it, check out Mundane Matt, Sargon of Akkad, or even Jordan Owen 42 and Thunderfoot. They've done numerous postings about Gamergate and information concerning it. Why am I bringing this up? Well, gaming is a huge part of geek culture. I remember being called a nerd for liking games, or how it will never lead me to anything in my life if I sit in front of a TV and stomp on mushrooms all day. The truth to the matter is that games and their developers are in a multi-billion-dollar section of the entertainment pie. Games make more money in a year than movies and TV combined. Case in point, Grand Theft Auto V sold $1 billion worth of merchandise in the first 3 days. It holds the record for the highest grossing game of all time. My guest, the Wayward Moogle, is a game journalist and has a dog in this race. So for you, my guildlings, I have asked him to be here and answer some questions. The answers he gives are his opinion and his alone. He represents himself and is no way affiliated with any gaming site like Kotaku or Gamasutra. Just for full disclosure. So before we start the interview, is there anything that you'd like to state?
Just real quick background on me. I've been playing games pretty much all my life. Yeah, big surprise there. I like talking about games. Yeah, nerd. I like talking about games. I like to discuss them with friends, family, pretty much anybody to listen. I've been recognized by Square Enix as a press member. I've professionally reviewed games for Two Towers and a bunch of other companies. So.
Just drop as many names as you can. I can hear the names hitting the table as we're talking.
I have some credibility, but I'm still a small-time journalist, and I want people to know that I'm at the ground level. I'm on the street with everybody else, just trying to make sense of all this disaster that's going on.
Okay. Alright, with that, we will start with these hard-hitting questions as I grind you down to see what you have to say and pick your brain. So we're gonna go with question number 1, which is the easiest one to answer, and it's really simple. What does GamerGate mean to you?
All right. Well, GamerGate to me, I mean, everything that I've been following up on, everything that's going on. GamerGate to me is supposed to, mind you, I will clarify in a minute. It's supposed to be about journalistic integrity. Now, this was something that I at first found to be kind of funny because I myself don't feel that there is a lot of journalistic integrity, but it's almost in a very how to say it, very transparent way. A good example would be that Game Informer is owned by EB Games and GameStop, and some of their reviews and coverage might be slightly biased toward a current sales quota or whatnot. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a subscriber to Game Informer. I read it, and I take into account that might be a possibility. But, and something I'll touch on maybe a little later, we'll talk about why that is.
Okay. All right, so number 2, do you believe that games journalism is as bad and corrupt as what the pro gamer side of GamerGate say it is?
Okay, well, like I just said, I don't really believe that there is widespread journalistic integrity. I think in any medium, movies, games, the news on TV, that all of it has some agenda or something behind it to try to portray or get across. People are paid for opinions, and that's where a lot of the pro Gamergate hostility toward journalism comes from, is that if your opinion it can be bought with favors or otherwise, we want to know.
Well, all right, talking about media in general. All right, movie critics, one of the best ones out there was Roger Ebert.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see him taking garnered favors. Be it going to the Oscars or just them giving him reels of the movies that he likes. I can't see him taking his opinion and whoring it out there for someone else. But at the same time, I could see, I can't remember his name. He was on Stars.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I could see him pimping out his opinions in his favor.
Yeah.
Towards a certain movie that Stars is trying to promote, or a certain something or else.
I mean, it's not alright. It's not to say that the integrity doesn't exist, but to be in a position to expect for the journalistic community at large to cow to a demand that we want transparency is unrealistic, in my opinion. You're gonna hear me say this all night, but I'm in the camp that strongly suggests that you find a reviewer that, after your own experiences, dropping another name, Jeremy Johns on YouTube, in my opinion, has a lot of reviews where after I've seen a film that he has seen, I'll go watch his review after and go, you know what, this guy is about on line with where I was at with the movie. I really trust his opinion on it. And so I will be inclined to continue watching his YouTube. People need to find the reviewer that they can trust, and trust is something that you build. Now, a lot of people, and this goes toward a bigger problem, I think, in general, is that they don't make their own opinions. That they will consume an opinion, and that will be their truth until, proven wrong, I guess. So I'll probably, no doubt, touch on that more. But basically, make your own damn opinion, find someone you like, follow them.
Okay. Number 3. Hashtag Gamergate is going on 3 months of being in the limelight of a lot of gamers' eyes. Do you think, being a journalist, that this is a trend that will show companies they need to wake up? or do you think it'll fizzle out like the anti-GamerGate say it will?
Well, basically, like, I'll use the Mass Effect 3 ending as an example of where this could go. And for those of you that are not in the know or maybe just now getting into this whole game journalism, shenanigans, because we've been in the limelight a lot lately.
Yeah, you damn journalist.
Mass Effect 3's ending was
atrocious.
Less than satisfactory to a lot of people. And they were very vocal about it. Now, EA and BioWare's initial stance on this was that it was their artistic integrity that this is how they wanted the game to be done, how it should end. Now, that's where they should have stopped. They should have gone, yep, that's just how it's got to be, guys, like it or hate it, and left people up to their own devices. I'll also cite the end of Inception for people that want to argue about endings that you'll talk about forever. It was one of those things where it's just like, that's how it is. Let's move on.
We can get into the Inception ending at another time.
Yeah,
that could be a whole podcast all by itself.
But you see what I mean? Like, the point is that when, like, Christopher Nolan was asked what, he was basically like, just how it is.
You make up your own mind at the ending. It's kind of like the old short story, The Woman and the Tiger, where the hero is led to a door, and one door has a woman behind it, the other door has a tiger behind it that'll kill him. The woman is his wife that he was trying to find. Then the story stops and lets you make your own decision of which door did he choose and what was behind it.
So, like, getting back on topic, what I'm trying to say is that they should have stopped there with just saying, guys, this is how the ending is. Instead, and this is what happened when gamers were displeased, further past them going, hey guys, artistic integrity, they cried bully and decided to get as many journalists that would listen to their cause together to create this giant media frenzy to defend them against the evil gamers with all their entitlement. Now, I'm not saying that, that being entitled is a problem. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't demand a certain level of satisfaction, but...
Well, I would say gamers, and me being one as well, we are very entitled, especially for the ones that started with Atari 2600 and Super Mario Brothers.
You've been here from the beginning.
Yeah, we have gone from 4-bit to 8-bit to 16-bit to 32-bit, and we expect more and more and more because of the systems that we purchase. PlayStation 3 got huge flack for being $700 right out the gate.
Yeah, I had one at release.
I was lucky enough to work for GameStop at the time and know the downfalls of the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So, being the smart person I was, I took the $250 Wii and ran with it. So me personally, I do believe that gamers, being a gamer, and this is my opinion alone, I do believe we are entitled. But the reason we feel entitled is because for the ones that have started, and I'm dating myself, I have played on an Atari 2600 when the graphics were awesome. We expect more. And the reason we expect more is because we paid for more. Games have consistently gone up in price. Gaming systems have quadrupled, if not octupled in price since the first ones came out.
Now, I won't... Alright, wait, I gotta interject. Games actually haven't necessarily gone up in price. If you go back and look at any old...
Now, the old school NES games cost $40. When Nintendo was first around, games cost $40. Right, I remember because
Super
my mom
Nintendo
was
games,
pissed
though,
about
could
it.
go up to like $70.
Up to $70, depending on the system, depending on what you were getting. It was usually only $70 when a peripheral was involved.
The problem instead is the completion of the game you are getting. Now,
one of my favorite games is Super Dodgeball on the NES. If I'm feeling bad and I have my NES available, I will play Super Dodgeball all day. It's one of the funniest games I've ever seen. It makes me feel good about myself. And to be honest to God, truth, you can beat the game in a half hour. It's one of the crappiest games. Comparatively now, it's one of the crappiest games that have ever come out because of the simplicity of it.
This could honestly be an entire discussion on its own.
Yeah.
But...
I'm just expanding on why I believe that gamers feel entitled to certain things.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, not saying being entitled is bad. I'm just stating that since you had asked me if
it shows the trend that the companies need to wake up, or is it
going
to fizzle out like the Mass Effect 3 argument?
I don't think it'll fizzle out, but I think that the purpose of the movement needs to change, and we'll get on that soon, okay. I'm sure.
Well, I do want to point out that this thing has been going 3 months strong on the internet, which is ancient compared to certain things.
Yep, we all have ADD here on the web.
All right, so we'll go on to question 4. We'll touch on other things a little bit later. GamerGate has been hailed as being filled with nothing but white cis het scumlords, and if you want to know what those mean, look them up. Who want to oppress women. What do you honestly believe it is about? I know it kind of touches on question 1 about what it means to you, but this is, I mean, what do you honestly think GamerGate is being filled with?
Alright, I'm going to try and sum this up as best I can so I don't get into this long rant about stuff. But,
too late.
Basically, this goes on to an issue where originally GamerGate was supposed to be about gaming journalism. The fact that it started between a man and a woman had little to do with it. It was more about the act and what it led to, more so than a man putting a woman down. Now I'm gonna take a side on this and say that we'll use the Ferguson riots as an example.
Okay.
In that the Ferguson riots started because a white cop shot a black kid. Now the real point of it is that one guy with a gun shot a kid for whatever reasons, alleged or otherwise, and that's what people should have been upset about. People should have been like, hey, that was awful, this guy should have been punished about it, and gone through the legal system, whatever. The riots aren't the issue. The issue is what happened and what it attracted. What it attracted was people called race baiters. Now, race baiters will find any incident between a black guy, a white guy, or I'm sure there's cases
Hispanic
of other races going at each other. But the point is that they take a problem and then they shift focus to fit their agenda. And in the case of GamerGate, a section of the feminist community, a vocal minority, decided that this was going to be their crusade and switch focus from, instead of journalistic integrity in video game journalism, to a man putting a woman down in the game industry. And so do I think that GamerGate is being that GamerGate is filled with nothing but white cis het scumlords? No. It misses the point of the protest entirely. And anybody that follows that line of thought, I really think needs to look at the issue closer.
Alright, speaking of feminism, that kind of leads into question number 5. Do you think the social justice movement is going too far in trying to force developers to pander to the minorities? And not just the minorities, their minorities.
Their minorities. Well, this kind of goes on to my point earlier, but do I think that developers are being forced to pander to certain groups? I don't really think so. I think dropping it obviously, EA, BioWare wants to capture a underdeveloped audience with Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a huge game right now. Characters like the Bull and
from what I've played of it,
3/4 of the other.
It's from what I've played of it, it's got the same conversation tree that Mass Effect does, and from what I can tell is, unlike the first game, you can sway any of the main characters to want in your pants, be it male, female, or whatever.
With the exception of dwarves.
Yeah.
No dwarf sex.
Thank God.
Hey.
The term that they're using is this is the first game that has an actual pansexual class. Now, whatever... If any of you don't know what that means, everybody knows what the basics of gender are. Male or heterosexual... or sexuality, not gender. There's heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, and then there is actually asexual. What pansexual means is that
all of the above.
All of the above. You tend to go with whatever you feel. You're not necessarily bisexual because you are just horny.
Now, I got to interject because we're getting a little off topic, and I want to cover something important with this question.
Okay.
But it's that. Do I think it's a problem? No. What I feel, and it's something that goes into the equality debate, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to talk about forever, is that if you want equality, then you could be a giant purple fluffy dragon with crazy sparkly wings, 2 colored eyes, a neon green tongue, and a wolf tail. I don't care.
If I can find that picture to put up in the podcast, I'm going to.
Look, all I'm saying is I don't care what you are. It should be considered normal to anyone, viewer or otherwise, if they truly believe in equality, to just go with it. Whatever, It's a problem when a company decides to pander and misrepresent these characters, and I hate to use that word misrepresent because it's a canon keyword of certain groups to instill hate. And the point of what I'm trying to say is that if you're a gamer and you like playing games and you're down for some multiplayer Smash or something, I don't care if you go home and perform a donkey show every night. It's fine. Do what you're going to do. If you play games, you're cool with me. That's the way we need to be as a community. Just get past it.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. It's all right to go home and do donkey shows every night as long as you play games. All right.
As far as I'm concerned.
As far as the wayward moogle is concerned. All right. Question number 6. How do you... Just no segue to this question. We're just going to stop it there and move on. How do you view the future of games journalism from this standpoint? The standpoint I mean is the corruption from game journal pros and things like that.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
And the collusion. Do you think it will get better or do you think it'll get worse? And what I mean by that is because of this movement. Do you think that things like game journal pros isn't going to happen again, or do you think it's going to be more of kind of what they did? Give their consumers the finger and say, hey, deal with it.
I think what's going to end up happening, and this kind of goes into the question of whether or not I think it'll fizzle out, is that ultimately you can't change someone's opinion. And I'll tell you right now, journalists are the most opinionated bastards on the planet. They literally are paid a daily, weekly, monthly salary to tell you their opinion. And they
kind of have to stand by it.
Yeah, they have to stand by it to be a credible journalist. Which is why, going back to BioWare, EA, and them flaking on their artistic integrity when they didn't stand by it and instead decided to throw this giant pity party, people lost a lot of respect for them. Well, here you go.
And it is EA.
This is where the game journalism community is at now. Is that if they don't stand by this conviction, then why would you trust them? As a reader, why would you trust them? And this goes down into my big point about this interview, and something you're going to hear from me more, is that if you don't like a journalist, it is your right and your duty to stop reading their work and find someone else, and they will know. I mean, that's how you tell a business, and that's how the actual GamerGaters, not the guys throwing threats at people, not the freaking the other side that's like claiming all this gender inequality. No, I'm talking about the actual GamerGaters are just, are gonna go, well, I'm gonna use my wallet, I'm gonna use my viewership, and we're gonna walk away from this. And what they cost?
It came out today that Gawker Media has lost 7 figures worth of income to GamerGate through advertising. Now, to clear up a little bit more, the reason that people were attacking Gawker is because they are the mother company of Kotaku, who actually went after GamerGaters saying to bring back bullying, that gamers should die, a lot of horrible things. So it was kind of a counterattack to being attacked. But go ahead.
Well, like I said, as a consumer, as a gamer, as a reader of publications, physical or otherwise, it's up to you to make that decision. You have to decide what you read, and your viewership and where you go will be the deciding factor in whether or not GamerGate fizzles, or if journalism changes based on the way you read it. Now, I know I said at the beginning of this that you can't change a journalist's opinion, and it's true. But
you can make them change the way that they think about things by affecting their wallet.
Well, that's true too. But you can decide on who flourishes based on your opinion and the collective opinion. I mean whether you're voting at the polls and in politics, whether you're calling in to
Dancing with the Stars to vote for your favorite,
or you're buying video games at GameStop, like the point comes down to that you, the consumer, make the choice and never let anyone anywhere tell you otherwise. The choice is in your hands. Now,
we've been talking about EA a little bit.
A lot. What can I say? They make an example of themselves.
They do. Now, this is only rumor. There hasn't really been any confirmation that it's happening. So I'm only bringing it up in conjecture. In response to EA Games, what do you think of them using Anita Sarkeesian as a developer, who is a severely anti-gamer personality? Now, I said anti-gamer, not anti-GamerGate. She just has a personality that makes me want to chew on glass. She's very anti-gamer. What do you think of the situation that's coming up?
Once again, not to sound like a broken record, what do I think about Anita working possibly at EA on the next Mirror's Edge 2? I personally, am of the opinion that if she wants to try her hand at being a consultant or a video game personality and get some credibility to her name, which she lacks, then it's...
I love you, Mike.
Which it's going to be up to the gamers after the game comes out, because you're not going to stop it happening at this point. No, not to put you guys down, but it's happening. When the game comes out, to buy it and play it, and if it turns out to be awful, let people know. And your wallet and the lack of their sales or otherwise, if you Redbox it, you spend $2 to go rent it somewhere to play it for 6 hours and take it back. It's one of those things. You need to play it and then let them know that you never want to see it again. Like, am I saying that's a rallying cry? No. If it turns out to be amazing and she actually proves that for whatever reason something she's trying to say is valid, then we'll all be wrong. But until that happens, it's up to you to make your opinion, to make your decision.
I'm willing to be wrong. If it's an amazing game, it's an amazing game. If it's crap, it's crap.
I completely hold the right to change my opinion based on new facts.
Very true.
And that's something that everyone needs to take into account, that anything can change based on new information. If Anita Sarkeesian happens to be a savant at making video games, and it's amazing, and I suddenly find a developer I can't help but follow around, so be it. But Now, do I say that's going to happen? I severely doubt it. But I have to give her a chance.
There is a possibility.
I have to give her being a part of the game a chance, because as a journalist, as a gamer, I have to make an informed decision. You cannot, and that's going to be the theme of this whole conversation, is making an informed decision. You have to just fucking go out there and like play the games and go, yeah, this is shit. I hope everyone knows about it. Like, I can't wait to get my hands on Inquisition. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be like, wow, I fucking hate this game, and I want to tell everybody. But until that happens, you know, I have to sit here and go, I can't wait to play it, because I want to sit there and decide if I really hate it, or if it's maybe just me going, wow, that really does look bad. You know,
yeah.
It's out of my hands until I play it. And any journalist that doesn't play a game and then, you know, writes a review is a goddamn liar, and you should not follow them.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. All right, now our final question. If you were standing in the middle of a room with a microphone in front of you, and you had the whole of the pro-GamerGate on one side and the whole of the anti-GamerGate on the other side, and they were there to listen to you,
oh, Lord,
what would you say to them?
Well, I'd get up on stage. I'd be really nervous because I'm really bad at public speaking, and you know, and this is kind of a big you know, group and everything. Not like all the listeners aren't a huge group either. But what would I tell them? I'd be like, I'd get up there and I would ask for a player two. Like, what it comes down to is that you need to be a part of this community, to be a video game journalist, to be a video gamer, to be a gamer, to be a girl gamer, to be a guy gamer, to be a purple fluffy dragon with wings and sparkles and neon tongue and everything. To be a gamer, you have to be prepared to just play games. And I think to stand there and throw words, throw gender arguments, to throw all of this at each other is childish. We shouldn't be playing. We should not be playing dodgeball. We should be sitting down and getting down on some Mario. Like, play games, and that should be it.
Instead of actually being out in the streets and fighting, we should be playing Street Fighter 2.
Yes, exactly. Video games could have replaced wars by now, but we are still bitching at each other. Think about that.
It's a valid point. All right, so that is all the questions I have for you, but I am going to open the floor to you to say any last words. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have anything that you'd like to say?
I won't reiterate my points. You guys have heard me enough tonight.
Say it 4 out of the 8 questions.
Yeah, exactly. 4 out of the 8 questions. Make an informed decision, people. Moving away from that, though, I hope you continue listening to this podcast. This guy is somebody I follow, so, you know, there's that name dropping, the Guildless name there. Come check out my blog if you want to see if I'm somebody you should add to your...
Which I will be putting a link in the description.
Yeah. If I am a game journalist you decide is credible to your sensibilities, definitely check out more information on this subject, about GamerGate, about, race baiting, gender baiting, pretty much any of these topics. Become informed. Go out there, find the information, create your own opinion. Don't just listen to us. Like, that's really important, because you have free will, you have free thought. Everybody can be a journalist, and, go out there and speak your opinion. Like, that's what this is really all about. Like, go out there and tell people how you feel.
All right. Very well said. And we are almost at the 35-minute mark, so I will say that is it for us tonight, my guildlings. And as a once great announcer said, same bat time, same bat channel. Come back here, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good night, everybody.